I'm going to talk with you about data in healthcare in the next 10 minutes. And for sure, I'm not going to convince you why data in healthcare is so important. I think I don't need to convince you also there are so many challenges when it gets to data in healthcare. The industry has spent many, many years, efforts and resources to get the data into the machines. But we also realize that almost every project that involves data in healthcare might turn to be a nightmare. It takes forever. It involves so many people. I always depend on others to get the data for me. Usually it's not repeatable. And you probably know all the challenges we have here. The outcome is very simple, but very poor. Those who need the data, there are so many of those around us, don't really have access to the data. And those who have the data cannot really serve the growing demand for the data. And the way the industry has chosen to bridge between the gap for the last maybe 4 decades is putting what we call the middleman. The IT expert, the legal expert, the business expert, the policy, there are many of those. And if it doesn't work, we usually add more and more. But no matter how we add in between those who need the data and the data, it hardly serves, again, the growing need. And if you look at the technologies that we developed as an industry, most, if not all of the technologies are aimed for the middleman. There are very, very few end users, clinicians, physicians, researchers that do really know how to work with these tools. But we keep developing the tools for the middleman. But what if, as a vision, we will change the picture for a second, and instead of supporting the middleman, we'll find a way to put the data directly in the hands of those who need the data and truly create an environment, maybe for the first time, an environment where any user, absolutely any user, with no need for any skills in computer science and or technology, will be able to ask any question, as sophisticated as the question is, get the data and the insights in minutes or hours, not months or years, and while doing so, also ensuring the privacy protection by 100%. If we can create an environment where there are truly no bottlenecks and no bottlenecks and no mediators, where maybe instead of 2 people in the organization asking 2 questions over 200 days, we'll find a way to let 200 people ask 2 questions every single day. And not only this, do this across the entire spectrum of a health system. We keep talking about learning systems, trying to be learning systems. In my view, it's very hard to be a learning system if you're only a system. Because a system by itself is something that is very vague. We need to talk about individual learnings. The ability to turn any or every individual in my system to be a learning individual. This is the paradigm shift I think we should start talking about in the industry. In order to do this, you have to think about 2 mighty walls that we must take down. The privacy wall and the data complexity wall. These are the 2 mighty walls that keep standing between me as a user and the data, especially in healthcare. Talking about data privacy or data protection, we all know all the million techniques out there in order to protect data. All the identification tools, and we also know that all of them are subject to re-identification. All of them put us at risk. But what if, instead of dealing with real data, we'll deal with a non-real data, what we call synthetic data? What if I can provide you the data sets you are looking for in no time that will look the same, behave the same, and get you exactly the same results as if it is real data, but it's not real data. So there are no legal issues or constraints around the data provision here. And what if some top-tier organizations around the world will officially provide a waiver that telling that you don't even need an IRB request to get the data if you're using synthetic data, which means if I have an idea now, I can start exploring now without talking with anyone in the world. That is the first step to reinvent the way we get data in the hands of those who need the data. I'll illustrate this with one visual that will explain the concept, the unique concept of synthetic data. This is a true data set of pixels that draw this photo. This is a real photo based on real data set. But what if I cannot give you the real data set and we synthesize and create a fake set of about 4 million pixels that don't exist in real life and ask the computer to redraw the photo based on that fake data set? And this is the photo the computer draws. It looks similar. It for sure tells the same exact story. But if I cannot give you the original photo or data, and I can give you only the synthetic data or photo, would you have told the same exact story? I guess the answer is yes. So in real life, if I'm looking to the correlation between age and cholesterol, and I can't give you the real data, I'll give you a synthetic set of the data that none of the patients really exist in real life and vice versa, but the story the data set is telling is exactly the same one. This is the first step in order to get the data in the hands of everyone. But it's non-human, so there's no legal issues around this. The second one is dealing with the data mess in healthcare. We all know the complexity of data in healthcare. We all deal with this. A typical medical center is about 4,000 tables in place. If you're an IDN, you probably have 100,000. Just by looking at this photo, you can understand why it's so hard to put the data in the hands of those who don't understand the language here. So what MDClone does, instead of telling the story by millions of tables, we create patient stories. Longitudinal, unified, harmonized journeys of patients on a data level, that everything that happens with the patient in their life become event in my journey. If you reorganize your data universe this way and put on top of this the right query tool that talks the clinical language, not the technology language, this is where the magic happens. Because now you can enrich the patient story by any aspect of our life. And now you can find end users that know nothing about technology. Clinicians, physicians, researchers, executives can build studies and find insights in minutes or hours. It will take me as a programmer maybe weeks or months to build it for them, for you. Around this, the whole Adams platform is coming in place. The whole circle of asking for the data, getting the insights, act upon these insights, measure yourself, and share with the universe, but not by 20 people over 10 months, but by myself now on the spot. And then once you have this approach in place, and you can support the organization doing this, almost every aspect of the way you run your system can be transformed and reinvented. The way you run your operation, quality, open yourself to the universe, do research, and so on. We have many partners to show that this innovation is working in place. We have the entire country in Israel in our system. We have leading organizations here in the US, like the VA, like Intermountain, which is one of our best partners to build this innovation. And the last step is, once you can have this approach, what if I can now virtually connect all the members of this approach and create what we call the virtual network, where you introduce new concept of data as a service for research, for trials, for operation management, for quality improvement. Every aspect can be transformed this way. Thank you.